Hello everybody, happy holidays and welcome to my top 10 giftable board game list. Before I get started, if you haven't done so already, please take a look at all my various social media pages as well as my Patreon page. On all of those, you'll be able to interact with myself and my channel in a whole bunch of really cool ways. Now, getting right into this is one of two giftable game videos that I'm doing this year, with this particular one being larger board games that you can give and or receive. And essentially what I wanted to do with this, as well as my other video, is go with games that are not really thematically heavy, really enjoyable for the entire family, not extreme in terms of attack against your other people, but still competitive, and just sort of relaxing and just a lot of fun for anybody and everybody to play. I went with a lot of different themes, a lot of different mechanics, and overall I hope that you guys really enjoy my selections. Before I get into it though, as always, you guys know I love to hear from you. What are some games that you have loved to receive in the past? What are games that you love to give? Do you enjoy just giving your favorite games, or are there particular ones that you like to see, latest games, anything along those lines? Please let me know any and all thoughts in the comments below. You guys know I love to hear from you. But with that said, we're going to go ahead and get started with my number 10. At number 10, I've got Slender. This is a great little engine building game for 2 to 4 people, and it only takes about a half hour to 45 minutes to play. If you're unfamiliar with it, the idea is that you're collecting cards that allow you to build bigger and better things, and then eventually somebody wins. The reason that this is so low on the list though is because frankly there are some better games that do something similar to this, but the expansion for Slender actually really helps a lot. It gives you a lot more detail and a lot more fun and interesting things that you can do, but thematically the whole point is that you're jewelers, so there's really not much theme to it. It's a lot of fun, and on top of that it's a little bit more competitive because you have the whole, oh, I was looking to get that card and that type of thing. That said, it's a very popular game. It's, in my opinion, a lot of fun, even though I'm terrible at it. Slender, my number 10. At number 9, I've got Modern Art. This is a game that I've talked about a decent amount, where it is an auction game, with the idea being that you buy paintings cheaply and then you're able to sell them high. So it's really fun because you have a lot of, not confusion, but you have a lot of controlled chaos at the table, which is something I love seeing in games, and especially something with this very high quality auction game. That said, for the purposes of the holidays, it might not work too well for most friends and family groups, but at the same time, for me personally, I really love it, and I love having that chaos and everybody yelling across the table and like bam, bam, bam with a gavel, all of that kind of thing. But essentially that's why it's lower on this list, because you have that more competitive nature of, you know, like, oh, I was going to get that and I was on the going type of thing. And so it can get very competitive depending on the family or friend group, but it's still a tremendously fun little game, and you can replace the art with all sorts of different stuff. It's a lot of fun. Modern Art, my number 9. At number 8, I've got King of Tokyo. This is a fun press your luck / dice rolling / Yahtzee style game, for those unaware, and it plays from, I believe it's 2 to 6 people actually, and it takes not very long to play, and it's extremely fast to learn as well, which makes it relatively unique. It was not too long ago, it got a new edition as well, so it's new and everything is great and awesome with it. But like some of the other games, it is a little bit more competitive in terms of, like, it's everybody against one person, depending on who is actually in Tokyo, but you have a tremendous amount of really good strategy inside of this game, and the press your luck mechanic is actually done very well. Not to mention the fact that it can play such a wide range of players makes it ideal for holiday family and friends gathering and all that kind of thing. Not to mention thematically, you're talking about, you know, Godzilla attacking Tokyo and all that kind of thing, and who's not familiar with those types of monster movies and all that kind of thing. But again, competitiveness and, you know, less of a desire to play something that's Yahtzee-like and things of that nature might turn off some people to it. But regardless, King of Tokyo, my number 8. At number 7, I've got Forbidden Sky. This is a wonderful new co-op game that is in the same vein as the Forbidden Island, Forbidden Desert, and now Forbidden Sky series of games. The reason that I wanted to put this one on the list is because it adds a lot more wonderful mechanics to what we already saw in Forbidden Desert and Forbidden Island. But that said, all of the new mechanics makes it a little bit more complex. However, it's balanced out by the fact that it's more of a co-op game than it is competitive, and so it makes it kind of nice in that way. But for some family gatherings, whether it's family and friends or whatever it happens to be, it might be a little bit difficult to get to the table simply because it's a little bit bigger, it's a little bit more complex. It might be complex enough that people are turned off by it, particularly just the physical size of it might be somewhat intimidating. But that said, if you have one or two people who really know how to play it and can teach it well and guide players, it's a wonderful choice for a lot of different family groups and all of that kind of thing. Forbidden Sky, my number 7. At number 6, I've got Pandemic. This is my favorite co-op game of all time, mostly because the theme is wonderful. Now, I promised at the beginning the theme is not a huge thing for this video, and the thing is that the reason I like the theme for this is because it comes through very nicely. It's not overbearing, it's not overpowering, but it is well done, and it's something that everybody is familiar with. We all know about the idea of the potential for a deadly outbreak of disease that can kill us all and how terrible it is. And so that really brings me into why it's so low on the list. Because we don't want to think about that kind of thing during the holiday. We don't want to be saddened by the idea of a plague coming to kill us all, but Pandemic itself, just as a game mechanically, is very, very well done. It's a wonderfully well-balanced co-op game that allows for a lot of great table interaction, and that's what I love about it, and that's why it's fun as a family game or as a gathering of friends, whatever it is. It plays a lot of people. If you add just one expansion, the On the Brink expansion, in my opinion, adds wonderful depth and replayability to the game as well. Pandemic, my number 6. At number 5, I've got Sheriff of Nottingham. This is a little bit of an unusual one because it's very much in the bluffing, deduction, social engineering type of category, which normally one doesn't want to associate with the holidays, but the fact is, it is just a fun game to have at the table. It's a great social interactivity game. It gets everybody chatting and talking and just having a wonderful time. And there is nothing quite like the feeling of getting contraband past the sheriff when you swore up and down that you had absolutely nothing bad in your back. It is just so much fun no matter who you're playing with. I have always had an absolute blast with it. But that said, it's in the middle of the pack because, again, thematically, you're talking about smuggling goods, contraband, and the idea of, like, essentially just lying to your friends and family because it's a bluffing game, and that might not be appropriate for every family, for every friend group. For me personally, it's something that we have always had an absolute blast with. It plays a decent number of players, super easy to learn just like all of these other ones, and it's just a reasonably light-hearted game. I do recommend getting the expansion for it as well. It adds some really cool new stuff and encourages more people to try to get contraband as well. But Sheriff of Nottingham, my number 5. At number 4, I've got Celestia. This is a press your luck game where the idea is that you're trying to collect cards that represent victory points by seeing, does your captain have the gumption to make it past the elements and the evil that lurks beyond? Sort of. That's really a dramatic way of saying it, but essentially you roll dice and you have to play cards. But a couple of the reasons I really love this game, the art is really adorable. It's very whimsical, almost to the point of like Dixit type of thing. For the purpose of this particular video, we're talking about, like, thematically, you're just in an airship flying between cities, so there's really no theme, but you can just look at how pretty the art is, essentially. And on top of that, when you're talking about press your luck and all of these kinds of things, you're not directly competing against your opponents in terms of attack, attack, attack. There are very, very few cards that do that. More often than not, it's just about reading the captain and saying, do you have the gumption? Do you have what it takes? And that's why I love it so much. That said, it's a game that can get a little bit frustrating, and it does tend to go into a pattern as you replay it over and over, where you have, you know, a big long run and then you have short. But strategically, you've got a lot of great decision making in terms of, well, if we make it past this one, then I'm going to end up being the captain, and I know that I really can't do it, so maybe I'll jump off just so that I'm safe, and things along those lines. There's a lot of strategic depth if you know where to look in this particular game, but it's great, plays a whole lot of players, plays very, very quickly as well. Celestia, my number 4. At number 3, I've got Century Spice Road. Now, whether you prefer the original edition or the Golem edition, it's pretty much the same except for the art styling. This is a game that was released, I believe, earlier this year and has gotten a lot of wonderful praise from critics. It's gotten a ton of publicity, and frankly, it's well deserved. It's a very, very good game. It's a lot of fun with friends and family, with the idea being that it's simply an engine builder. And it's, what do you want to focus on? Do you want to focus on selling a specific spice, gathering this specific type of spice, and then just exchanging it for anything else you need? Or are you going to focus on trying to build up every single one? All of these kinds of things. There's a lot of great strategy that goes into the idea of how you specifically are going to do your engine building. Like some of the other games like Slender, King of Tokyo, things like that I've talked about, you do have a little bit of the attacking in terms of your opponent wanted that card and you took it, but other than that, there's really not much going on with regard to that aspect. Strategically, you have a lot of wonderful decision making. You only have so much that you can hold before you have to use it, and all of these kinds of things. It works very, very well. It is a little bit more strategically heavy than some of the other ones, but it's not so bad that not everybody could understand. Like, anybody, even non-gamers, can understand it very well. And I personally recommend the Golem edition because the art is a lot better. But that's just me personally. But with that, Century Spice Road, particularly Golem Edition, is my number 3. At number 2, I've got Bob Ross, The Art of Chill. This game is just so chill. That's really the only way I can think of to describe it, because that's truly what it is. When I first played it, I wasn't sure what to expect, and afterwards I was like, wow, that was incredible. It has surprising strategic depth in terms of what pieces you're going to be keeping, because the idea is that you're collecting paints and tools in order to recreate paintings. And it's like, what am I going to keep? What am I going to apply to a particular painting, a specific section of the painting? Am I going to be able to finish it before we have to reset? And all of these kinds of things. Again, it's a non-competitive environment. It's everybody is trying to paint the same thing, and you're just trying to get as many chill points as possible. How can you go against a game where literally the entire point is that everybody becomes as relaxed and chill as they possibly can? It plays, I believe, up to 4. It might be 5 if I'm not mistaken. And again, relatively quick, about half hour to 45 minutes. Everybody knows who Bob Ross is. Everybody knows how amazing of a person he was, and it is really embodied inside of this game. And that's why it's really so high on this list, because it is a wonderful gift to receive. It's a great game to play with friends and family at any time, not just the holidays. But Bob Ross, The Art of Chill, is my number 2. At number 1, I've got Azul. This is a game that has really grown on me tremendously since I first got it and first played it quite a while ago now. But effectively, you are making a mosaic image by placing down tiles. And again, thematically, this is something that people might not be familiar with, but the art is absolutely gorgeous. And that's really what I love about it. The pieces are wonderful quality, and it's a game that can be explained in 3-4 minutes maximum. And then you just go in and you start playing, and you have a wonderful time with it. Like I said, with most of these games, you don't really have that extreme competitive aspect, aside from the idea of, oh, I was going to take that, but by and large, any game is going to have something along those lines. So it's really not that big of a deal, at least in my opinion. It takes very little time to play. I believe it plays up to 4 people, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it plays 2 to 4, and it plays in under an hour. Gorgeous art, gorgeous pieces, wonderful to handle, wonderful feel, and it simply looks pretty. It looks holiday-ish, even straight out of the box. Even the box itself looks like it belongs in a holiday special of some sort. And so that's why I love it so much. I highly recommend it as any game for the holidays or any other celebration. Azul, my number 1. Well, everybody, that's going to be it for me. I hope that you enjoyed this video, my top 10 larger giftable games. And again, this is a video that I wanted to have something that's really more universal than a lot of my other stuff, where these are games that you can enjoy pretty much no matter what. Whether you're a gamer or a non-gamer, somebody who likes theme or doesn't really like theme, depending any number of players or a good number of players, short amount of time, long amount of time, you've got a lot of options here. And that's really what I wanted to do is to give you guys as much of a grab bag as I could, and I thought that these games really did a wonderful job of that, fit the bill absolutely perfectly. I hope that you enjoyed this video, but as always, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. What are your favorite games to receive? What are ones that you have gifted to other people? Just let me know anything and everything, because you guys know that I love to hear from you. But with that, thank you very, very much again for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. And also, have a wonderful, happy, and very safe holiday season.